right, what is up, people? We're gonna do another trade recap for today. We ended up taking a trade today. Today was I would technically call it a break-even trade, but we ended up getting stopped out on our trailing drawdown, and we took our first take profit a little bit early because I thought we were gonna get stopped out. I liked the overall trade, but I thought we were gonna get stopped out. Our stop loss got edged twice that you could see on. I posted on Instagram and the whole live sessions on YouTube, of course, as always. I just want to go over my mindset and everything I saw on the trade, what I was thinking, why I targeted these levels, all that jibber jam or whatever the hell you want to call it. Just, again, if you want to learn from these videos, you can. This is the way I trade. If you don't like it, you can go watch somebody else. I just want to be transparent and just go over my mindset, and there's plenty of room to grow. We got a lot to grow over time, and again, we're going to try our best to keep growing every single day. My job is to show up every single day, get better. Been doing that for the past 3 years, especially ever since I quit my sport, and again, we're starting to see a little bit more success each month, and again, I've been happy with the way I've been trading, especially on these accounts for the past 4 months. So again, going over today's trade, right? We could see market open. I had my bias in the Discord. I post my bias every single morning, so we'll go over the 4-hour time frame. We could see that we formed a 4-hour SMT before market open, right? So we formed a high and a higher high on Nasdaq, as you can see, and then we formed a high and a lower high on Nasdaq on ES over here. We could see that we came down and we swept out this 4-hour low when we had that news drop. We had news at 8:15 a.m. Eastern time, and we came down, we swept out this 4-hour low. So in my opinion, that 4-hour SMT was done for, right? I wasn't paying attention to it anymore. I wanted to see a manipulation lower, continue up higher, right? And that's what we ended up getting, but the market, it just chopped slowly up to our take profit that we wanted to target. Again, we got stopped out in our trailing drawdown. Is what it is, part of trading. The market didn't want to just flush through and do what I wanted to do, but again, I can't control that, right? So we can see that we got this huge move down after that news drop at 8:15. 8:15, here's that news drop. I marked out that candle up top too. So again, this is a data high. We have a 4-hour high and we have an hourly high, right? We came down. ES ended up taking out these 4-hour lows. We could see we formed a 5-minute SMT before market open around 9:15 a.m. So I was paying attention to that. As we could see, right? I'm going to fast forward here because again, we're gonna we took the trade on Nasdaq. I can't rewind on both of them. I wish I could, but again, TradingView doesn't let you. We were just chopping around for a little bit. We had news at 10 a.m. I wanted to wait for news at 10 a.m. That's why I didn't take a trade to the downside. I know a couple people in the Discord did, and it wasn't a bad setup, but again, I wanted to wait till ISM services PMI dropped, right, to see what would happen. So news came out bullish. News came out bullish. Again, I really don't pay attention too much to news, but that was a step towards why I wanted to continue bullish. We could see we had that 5-minute SMT at the low. ES came out, took that 4-hour low. We formed a low and a higher low right here. And then Nasdaq formed a low and a lower low, right? Sorry, right here. A low and a higher low. ES formed a low and a lower low, right? Low and a higher low, low and a lower low, right? ES was the lagging index in this case. Nasdaq was the leading index. That's why I took it on Nasdaq. What I wanted to wait for, right? I wanted to wait for a 5-minute break of structure and then a 5-minute retrace. Just what I wanted to look for because, again, we have this huge fair value gap above, but we had no draws in liquidity above, right? The only draw we had is this 15-minute high, and you'll see that we literally didn't get a reaction off of it. We ended up forming a 5-minute bullish fair value gap. As you can see, it's marked out here. So what I wanted to wait for first is a 5-minute break of structure to the upside. When do we get that? We end up getting a 5-minute break of structure to the upside on this candle. I stayed patient. I wanted to wait for my 5-minute retrace. We end up getting our 5-minute retrace right here, right? Forming that 5-minute bullish fair value gap. I marked out equilibrium from this low to this high, most recent low to the most recent high, and I wanted to see price come into 5-minute equilibrium, and we'll get a bullish reaction off of this 5-minute fair value gap. So as you can see, price comes into 5-minute equilibrium. We end up not inversing this 5-minute bullish fair value gap. Same thing over here on ES. We're respecting this 5-minute bullish fair value gap. We had this 30-minute fair value gap above, right? This bearish fair value gap. But lately, I just feel like price has just been going flush through them. We had the other day, we had a 4-hour fair value gap, as you can see. This 4-hour fair value gap, we had this huge 4-hour fair value gap right here. Price just moved straight through it, right? Same thing over here. We had this big gap. Price just moved flush through it. So again, I just thought the same thing was going to happen. That was just my opinion. It ended up playing out in the long term, but again, price just chopped around today. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the future. That's just part of trading. I liked my entry. We took it. We trusted it, and I think we managed it well. So look, we can see we respected this 5-minute. We came down in a 5-minute equilibrium. I scaled down to the 1-minute time frame. What did I want to see? I wanted to see a 1-minute break of structure to the upside and a 1-minute inverse fair value gap. So as you can see, we had a 1-minute bearish fair value gap, a 1-minute bearish fair value gap up here. We broke structure back to the downside on this candle here. So again, I want to see a break of structure back to the upside. I want to see bullish confluences getting respected, bearish confluences getting disrespected. All right, so we'll fast forward a little bit here. We can see we got a break of structure to the upside, and then we got an inverse fair value gap. I ended up getting my entry on this candle down, as you can see. So I got my entry around here, around 255 25552. You can see it on the live trade. And again, I put my stop loss underneath where equilibrium was being validated, right? So I marked out equilibrium on the 1 minute time frame. I put my stop loss below this low, right, where equilibrium was being validated. I didn't enter another position size because, as you can see already, our stop loss was already 50 points. I went in 2 micro E-minis. I was risking around $200 on this trade. That's plenty enough for me. I usually like risking between $200 to $250 or to one. I pretty much like risking around $150 right now until I build past the threshold. But again, we went a little bit heavier risk on this one, which was around $200. That was plenty for me. I still marked out equilibrium, like we were gonna see if price was gonna respect this area. We had this bullish fair value gap here, this bullish fair value gap here. I wanted to see both of those get respected and price continue higher. Boom, would have been golden, right? So my first take profit was gonna be this high here and then this final high up here, if you guys can watch the full live stream. But just because how price action was moving, we almost got stopped out twice. I put my final take profit where this 30-minute fair value gap ended. So right up here, as you can see. So you'll see, we'll go in, we'll let the trade play out. We literally got edged. I thought we were going to get stopped out. So we ended up respecting this. I thought we were going to continue up here. We ended up inversing this fair value gap. I was like, all right, we're cooked. We literally get edged by like 0.25. And then price decides to come back up. We were back at break even. I was like, cool, this might play out. We end up coming back down. You can literally see my reaction in the video. I was like, all right, we're cooked here. We literally come down again, get edged, and then we get this huge move up. And I was like, holy shit, we hit our break even and stuff like that. I thought we'd continue flush through here. So I didn't take my first take profit yet here. I didn't take my first take profit yet. We ended up starting to get a bearish candle down on this candle, and I ended up taking my first take profit just to take a partial. And then I wanted this trade to fully run for a 94-point trade because I thought, hey, we're in this bearish fair value gap. We have the opportunity just to flush through. If I'm going to hold this trade, it should play out. So I ended up putting my stop loss to break even after that. We could see we ended up coming back down. I'm still holding this trade. Then we could see, right? We mark out this 30-minute fair value gap. We came to this, let's go here, 30-minute bearish fair value gap. You could see we came to the 50% level of this 30-minute fair value gap, right? So I was keeping an eye on that. And as you can see, if we go to the 5-minute time frame, we ended up forming a 5-minute SMT right here. So Nasdaq formed a high and a higher high. And then we could see over here, once we hit that level, so we could see then Nasdaq formed a high and a higher high. Here's that 1045, so 1045 right here. Then ES formed a high and a lower high. So we formed a 5-minute SMT at the 50% level of that 30-minute fair value gap. I thought that was a potential that we could have a retrace, so I decided to start trailing my stop loss. Okay, you can call me an idiot if you want, but again, we had this 1-minute bullish fair value gap. I just decided to put my trailing stop loss below this low because I feel like if we inverse this 1-minute bullish fair value gap, we'll probably continue lower, maybe fill in this 1 minute down below. But again, I was respecting my trade, like my rules and everything, because I had to go to break even. It was just letting the trade play out, do its thing. I was respecting my rules, respecting my risk management. And again, I thought if we inverse this fair value gap and we break below this low, we'd end up getting stopped out at break even on the runner. So I decided to trail my stop. It ended up saving us some money. We would have been stopped out at break even regardless. But overall, if you look at the live stream, I really wanted these relative equal highs up here. Even this high up here would have been a 94-point trade. Didn't play out when we wanted it to. Again, price action was shit today. We came down, we filled in this 1-minute bullish fair value gap. Like I said, price decided to move up. And again, it's still chopped around for a little bit. Like, look at this. Like, it's just terrible. It was terrible price action today. And then ended up coming up and taking out. Hold on. More chop, 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 chop. Overall target for the day was correct. The market didn't do what we wanted it to do. It ended up chopping around a lot today. I liked our entry. I liked our trade. I liked where our stop loss was. We still made money today. So again, you could say what you want on this trade. I liked the way I performed. I liked how my psychology was. I liked how I managed the trade after that. I was having fun managing the trade. And then again, we just pretty much went from there. We still made money on the day, as you could see. We made 2.1K on the day, $109 per account. And again, you know, I show that they're the PA accounts right now. So again, we're doing pretty good on these accounts right now. I'm just going to keep doing what I do every single day. Slow growth, focus on consistency, being patient, following my rules, and just again, focusing on my risk management and letting time compound my profits over time. And again, I just think that's the best way to do it, especially on your mental, your emotions and stuff like that. It might take longer. Some people don't like that. But again, we're focusing on long-term growth and making trading our living. We're not focusing on trying to get a payout and impress people and everything like that. So again, that was my trade for today. That was my mindset on it. That was my entries, my stop loss, everything like that. So again, I want to get that out there for you guys. The people who want to learn, they can learn, watch this and go back. And again, the live trading session is posted on my YouTube also. You just got to go back. I post that in the morning time after the live trading session's over. So you can go back and watch that after watching this video and just watch the full live in-depth trade if you guys want. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you learned something. Like, subscribe, and yeah, peace out.